Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. This is for me. I love talking shop about writing, and I'm loving this. I'm loving this because I don't write horror. I write mostly nonfiction about well, whatever it is that I write about. But I love hearing how you think. Great.
Awesome.
Okay, so here's this photo is two friends sitting together on a suede sofa. Behind, like, let's talk about the background. Behind is what is like a exposed brick that's been painted over in white. It's a black and white shot. The image is a little bit overexposed, or it's quite high contrast. So
Yes.
wearing black dresses, like the black little, what's it called? What's the phrase again? The
A little black dress, yeah.
little black dress. You're both wearing little black dresses. I think, yeah, the expression is hands together, sitting next to each other, laughing. So warm. What is this image?
Yeah, this is me and my best friend, Meg. And this was our first photo shoot before our first book came out. And I just feel like it says everything about our friendship and us. And we just have a genuine love for each other and each other's
Yeah.
families. And we've been through so much together. So
Wow.
here's a side note. We met because my husband was in intensive care in the hospital and was dying. He was
Oh.
only 24. Meg
What?
was working at the hospital gift shop, and every day I would have to go down when they were doing procedures on him, and I would waste some time looking around the gift shop. We connected. He ended up passing away that summer, but
Oh,
Meg
wow.
and I formed this bond, and we've been best friends ever since. And so that tragedy, the unspeakable, which I never imagined, like I didn't know where my life would go. I came out stronger through that, and she's been in my life ever since, and we've got all this history together, and like I said,
Wow.
now we're writing our 6th book together. So I think my message to anyone listening would be, just you just never know where life is going to bring you. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
keep going.
Absolutely. That just hit me like a brick to the side of the head. Okay.
I'm so sorry. It's a lot, but
What? Sorry, you're not Canadian. I'm Canadian. You don't say sorry. Maybe it's the water from Lake Superior. I have no idea.
Yes, we're Canada adjacent. So
Yeah. Okay. So So as you're explaining this to me, I'm looking at this photo of what is just clearly warmth, shared kindness between two souls, right? Like two people who are just connected. And of course I'm projecting into it, and it's sort of filtered through what you're telling me about the story, which is super powerful. You both have tattoos on your arms. Now,
yes.
are they connected, these tattoos, or no?
So, at the time, they're both horror tattoos. She's got Lydia from Beetlejuice, and I've got Bruce Campbell from Evil Dead.
Okay.
But now on my right arm and her left arm, we each have one of the Shining twins, the Grady
Okay.
girls.
Right.
And so when we stand next to each other, they hold hands, just like the girls hold hands.
Fucking nutter. You're a fucking nutter. I love it. It's actually unbelievably tender and sweet and powerful because, there's this author, I think he's Chinese. I think his name is Hajin, I think. He wrote about, like, essentially, like, we're all like piano strings that just kind of move around the world, and we're all just kind of vibrating at our own note or pitch or key or whatever. And every once in a while, we come close to another person who's vibrating at roughly the same note, and then we start resonating, and that builds, right? And so, in a sense, when I see the both of you sitting like that, and it's a photo shoot, and the photographer must have said something to make you giggle and laugh, but I feel this sort of resonance of these two spirits sitting together, who have kind of found themselves in this weird kind of, and that's life. Like, we don't know how we're going to cross paths. So you just fell into this pace or into these roles as co-authors. Is there an analogy of that in other friendships that somebody else can hear and maybe explore? Or how would you communicate the essence of what's in this image to somebody else to kind of reflect on their own lives and their own friendship?
I've had friends all my life, but meeting Meg, it was like meeting my platonic soulmate because we shared so many things in common and also just totally get each other and support each other at the same time can give that tough love talk if we need to, but it's finding that friend who believes in you unconditionally and will support you and be with you every step of the way, no matter what. And so being able to not only have that friendship on just the day-to-day level, but be able to be creative partners, that's just brought this other level of understanding. And, we've gone through all of this together. So every step, it's the highs, the lows, the waiting to hear back, the all everything is together. So that's been we've been so thankful for that because to take this journey on your own is a lot, but to do it with your best friend, it just feels
It's amazing.
yeah.
Wow, very special. And the whole thing about being an author, for those who are practicing writers who tend to do it by themselves, it's very lonely, right? And actually, if you're doing academia, somebody doing their PhD, it's fighting anxiety and depression while you're doing your PhD is quite common. It's because you are by yourself, and there is
Right.
But what's interesting about the work that you describe about your books is that there's a lot of research and there's a lot of intellectual. It's not because creatively you're essentially synthesizing a story and you're still telling a kind of story, I guess, through a nonfiction book, but you're researching it together and you're exploring it together. So how would you describe? I'm just assuming that you both have slightly different but complementary personalities.
We do, yeah. So even though we have a lot in common, I'm more organized than Meg, and she'll be the first one to say that. So I'm not throwing her under the bus.
Okay.
I tend to do things a little faster than she does. She's more thoughtful, and I'm more spontaneous. I am more of a morning person. She won't talk until she's had her first cup of coffee.
Okay.
Things like that, and it balances each other out. Yet at the same time, she has those traits that like I said, I'm a little more shy, and she is more assertive, and so I think that's why we work so well together too. Is that we're not carbon copies of each other. And she was a literature major, and I was a theater major, and so we have, we've each got our strengths in the areas that we studied as well.
And you've written screenplays together, you said?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so are you bound by type or genre in terms of nonfiction versus screenplay? So somebody's listening who wants to put together a screenplay, like how would you describe the biggest differences between those two ways of writing?
I guess just format mainly, because screenwriting is its own monster, so to speak, and it's learning what is typical and how to format things. And then of course I think a lot of writers who write fiction, whether it be screenplay or novels, dialogue is I think a challenge for a lot of people, whereas when we're interviewing people for nonfiction, it's formulating questions instead of dialogue.
Yeah. Is that where your theater comes in more strongly because you've had more focus on that, or are you both kind of equal producers in both sense?
I haven't ever actually thought about that, but now that you bring it up, it does make sense because Meg writes novels, writes fiction, and so she definitely writes a certain way, and then I guess I am used to that, the spoken out loud stuff, like in a screenplay, whereas in a novel you're not, unless you're adapting it. So yes, this is an aha moment for me, so thank you.
I'll send you my bill at the end of our conversation.
Okay, great.
You're welcome. Kelly, let's create another aha moment then, because how do we open the door for somebody, like maybe pull something from one of your books, in terms of what other surprising insight about horror, which, I have friends who are, is Shirley Jackson,
Yes.
yes, okay. Sorry, see that just I'm just showing what a doofus I am. But so really into that genre and really into the whole they would love to talk to you. But let's just say from how do you bring an outsider, like is there more that you can say to sort of welcome an outsider into this world? Because already what you said about explaining the background of Friday 13th makes me want to go like, okay, I'll check that out again. But what other
Yeah.
thing can we talk about?
Well, something, our next book that's coming out in October, you can pre order now. It's The Science of Witchcraft. And we
Yes.
talk about, witches portrayed in movies and TV shows. And something, every time we research something, it brings you down a path you didn't expect. I was
Okay.
researching Sleepy Hollow, and we talk about plants coming to life and plants used as medicine. And so we were able to interview an indigenous ethnobotanist, and
Ah.
she taught us about all the ways that the indigenous people have used plants for centuries, and how what we can learn about their medicinal properties or healing properties, and that all these things that we feel like it's, well, that sounds a little woo woo, or that sounds like fiction because it's in this horror movie. It's based on real things that are surrounding us right now as I look out the window into the forest. So
Yeah.
it's, I think, I think open your mind, be open minded, and take a chance, and you might learn something, and it
Hmm.
might lead you down your own path of research and knowledge.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to ask one more question, and that is that through your experience, like you inhabit your own body and you inhabit your own perception of the world and how the world responds to you. So, therefore, being female, being a woman, you can't escape the fact that both on the sort of the hardships and the challenges and the sort of the barriers that you had to sort of push through, you become quite aware that wait a second, that was a barrier because I'm female, but you were able to cross and push through that. So, talking about witches, if anything, what can you say about this notion of the witch and the female as a source of power for an individual girl or young woman who's listening to this, as a kind of saying, oh, wait a second, it's not actually, it's just as it's been portrayed as being purely negative, it is also an empowered identity or character.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Through our research, and as it's been portrayed in many horror movies, anytime a woman or a person, it was seen as an other, because women were asserting their power, or showing interest in sex, or showing non-interest in doing what the patriarchy wanted, then she was labeled a witch because something must be wrong with her,
Yeah.
or she must be hysterical, as we talked about in a couple of our other books. And so realizing that strength can come from feeling powerful, and that's okay. And it's not, it's, I think sometimes, even as young girls, even in my generation, we were taught to, well, be humble, don't brag, don't show that you're proud, don't assert yourself in these situations. It's better to stay quiet. Learning that it's okay. You should stand up for yourself. You should be proud of your accomplishments. And yeah, don't let people tell you who you are. Don't let them define you. You can define yourself.
What a beautiful way to end this conversation. Kelly, thank you so much. This is great.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So once again, like, just tell people where they can find out more about you.
Yes. So anywhere that books are sold, our books are sold: The Science of Monsters, The Science of Women in Horror, The Science of Stephen King, The Science of Serial Killers, and now The Science of Witchcraft. My website is kellyflorence.com, and I'm on all the social medias. And then our podcast is Horror Rewind, and you can find that at horrorrewind.com.
Beautiful. Although any other podcast other than mine, other than Shooting It Raw, must die. No, I'm just joking.
You're gonna bleep it out, right?
Of
It's like on the swearing.
No, I won't. Of course
I'm
not.
just kidding.
It's Shooting It Raw. It's perfect. Ah, Kelly, thank you. You rock. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, Shooting It Raw.